Good morning, my beautiful people. It is good to see you once again. Thank you for joining me here at Dolly Vision. All right. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about the protest that is taking place in Portland, Oregon. And I have to say, last night was a real big difference. Right now, it is 3:30 a.m. in Portland, and we're going to be showing live footage, of course, from the scene, a little bit of the latest news. Nikki says, Dolly, did you sleep? Absolutely, I slept. I'm just getting up. Don't I look fresh and ready to go? I'm just getting up. I went to bed pretty early last night. I was in bed by 8 o'clock. Thank you. I'm an old man. And with that said, before we get into all the madness today, I'm going to need you to leave your DNA and your fingerprints all over the like button, just in case you get hit with a pepper ball in the eyeball. Okay, just right in the eye. Right? Bam. I'm going to need your DNA to find you an eye replacement. Okay, or we'll just get you a glass eye and call it even. But for real, I need you guys to like the video, so I ain't got to say it 1,000 times. It helps us in the algorithm. And of course, if you have not subbed up to this channel out there and you're watching, what are you waiting for? Sub up, ring the bell for notifications. And of course, feel free to share my ugly face. This is early morning ugly face too, right? Just straight out of bed. Didn't even wipe the drool off my face. Ugly face. Share it everywhere. Tell your granny, your pawpaw, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, best friend, all that good stuff. Now, let me give some warnings, because sometimes there is bad language at these protests. Okay. Sometimes people are saying bad things. You may hear a couple F-bombs or F-U or something of that nature. So Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories, mixed with a little bit of comedy and a whole lot of chaos. So don't take nothing here as fact. It's just my opinion, people. Completely satire. If I do take calls today, the callers' opinions are theirs and theirs alone, not to reflect on the Dolly. All these crazy people out here, they're innocent to proven guilty. Don't matter if they're on the left or the right. Till guilty, okay? And the biggest one of them all, and I mean the absolute biggest one, is do not, and I repeat, do not try to be Dolly at home or in Portland. Okay, don't try to be Dolly anywhere, basically. Don't do it. It is dangerous. You can lose your teeth and grow up and have man boobs. You don't want man boobs, okay? And your head will explode. You heard the producer in the other room. She's like, your head will explode. And there's no brain matter. It's just blood. So it'd be everywhere. You don't need that. You don't need that in your life. Okay. So basically, yesterday we seen them come in and bring out more officers to patrol the perimeter of the driveway of the ICE facility, right? And that seemed to be working great. And not only that, but they created what I call a buffer zone, and most people call it a buffer zone, depending on where you're at in the country, where they backed everybody up away from the ICE facility, and they closed off the roads, and they were keeping people back from the ICE facility. It looked pretty peaceful. So, they're promising that if Portland can't get this under control, this one city block, that they're going to bring in 4 times federal officers to secure this area so ICE workers can walk to their car. They don't have to worry about crazy people making threats, because they're saying that, these people on the front line, some of these people may be Antifa, and that ain't a black girl from Chicago. Okay. That is basically a terrorist organization inside our country deemed by the federal government. Okay. Not me. They could be nice people for all I know. Have no clue. Okay. I have no clue. I don't get involved in that type of stuff. But, we're seeing people in our country, which is surprisingly being paid to protest, or paid disruptors, or paid bad actors. Now, I think our country's bad enough that we don't need people that are paid to get out here and tear stuff up. Now, the crazy thing about this is, it's a protest on the ICE facility, but we're not seeing illegal immigrants protest the ICE facility, right? because then they'd be too close to jail. They don't want that, right? But I don't think that's the thing. It's basically it turned into what I consider a block party. Okay, it turned into a basic block party, and what it started off as kind of small people out there drinking, smoking, dancing. And then, of course, it's starting to catch steam on the media, right? A lot of people are starting to watch it, and more people are showing up. I knew that was going to be the case, right? As the media picks it up and covering it every day, they took something that really wasn't a big deal, just my honest opinion, and they turned it into a big deal, right? They made it this way. They've making all these people go out there because they're covering it. And anywhere there's news cameras, people are going to show up and show out, make an ass of themselves usually, right? And because they think, well, the world is watching it, so let me do this. But I would say simply as this: with the buffer zone and turn off the cameras, you're going to see those people slowly go away. And then the people that are out there left are going to be just a small handful of people. You wouldn't have the counter protesters. You wouldn't have the chaos that you're having. Listen, Dolly could wrap this problem up in 15 minutes. All right, 15 minutes, I would have it solved. And I don't know what's taking Portland so long to be able to control one block. But just with the little things they've done now, just the little things. And even if you did this, if you put the protesters on one side and say, hey, counter protesters, go over there, right? So then, because really the big altercations are usually between the protesters and the counter protesters. Now, we've seen, of course, Tommy Boy out there. And over the last, 3 days, 4 days, he's been in multiple fights, attacked, cell phone broke, car destroyed. But if you go back and forth with these people, right? If you go back and forth with these people, crazy stuff is going to happen. I think the best strategy with this is not to go back and forth with these people. Let them, get out there, turn the news cameras off with nobody watching. It ain't going to be nothing like this. I think, like I said, a lot of people are doing this just so it's shock value on TV. And like tonight in Portland, there is hardly anybody out there. I mean, it is basically a ghost town. I'm going to give y'all a little live look at it real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. And it's basically, earlier tonight, there was people out there. But as of now, it's a ghost town. But you got to remember, it is 3:42 in Portland at this time, okay? Let me share this entire screen, make sure I got audio. Bam, it ain't this one. It is actually this video that we're going to watch. And this is a live look at what is going on in front of the ICE facility tonight. Look at the difference that buffer zone has made. Look at the difference them few bringing in those few police have made. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? They want their 15 minutes of fame. Agree, Dolly. Turn the cameras off and they'll go home. I know. That's the big thing is all these people know that the cameras are watching. They know the world's watching. They're dressing up like chickens. They're dressing up like frogs. They're looking at this as like a big party that the world is watching. They've almost turned this into a rave. All right. Wow. Not right. Look, bringing in them few officers, putting up that buffer zone. So if they can't stand in front of the building and raise hell, they go home. Right? They go home. This has been happening in Portland since 2016, 2017. Yeah, this is actually a live look at what is going on right now. Let me make sure it's live. I want to tell you it's live. That's the live look. Okay, there we go. Now this is the live look. There's one person, one lonely protester, IB, all by myself without nobody. He's like, I'm going to walk back and forth. I'm going to show these ICE people what is up, okay? I wish I had a couple homies. Big difference. Big difference. The neighbors are sleeping tonight. But of course, you know, when morning time comes, they will be back out there. And we're going to actually be here live for it when they do come back, you know, but they'll be back today. It's just this guy right here. He's like, hell no, I won't go. Hell no, I won't go. He's like, I'm going to walk back and forth. Well, I think the buffer zone is down now. See, you can see the whole road to the right. They don't have it blocked off. It's just when they had the buffer zone up earlier today, it basically people was standing down the road. What good is that doing? So they just basically said, oh, hell no. Now, there's a couple feeds. Now, this is from earlier tonight. I'll show you what it looked like earlier. Yes. Of course, this was earlier. And you can see the buffer zone, right? You can see the buffer zone pretty well. And there was people out there, but, you know, they can only do so much down the street. So this is really all it needed. All it really needed to calm the chaos was enough police officers out there to control it. That's it. Now, like I said, when it gets daytime today, it'll pop back up. People will go out there. But this is all really, we needed these people leaving at night. So there's some peace in the streets. Now, I never had a problem with people protesting, right? If you protest from, let's say, normal business hours, 12 to midnight, okay, from 12 to 12, that's perfectly fine, right? And I'm sure even on that live shot that we're seeing, because this is not live that you're watching right this second. The other shot I was just showing is live. So this is earlier in the night. Is there bad weather coming this weekend up that way? I'm not sure, but wouldn't that be great? A little bit of bad weather to calm this down. Now, listen, it's just going to keep ramping back up, you know, especially if we keep giving it attention, right? Because you can see it's grown. Over the last week, we've watched this systematically grow a little bit bigger, and you know, and just basic fights, nothing real. I have to say, nothing really like crazy chaotic, but just basic fights, you know, just simple violence. But listen, any violence is too much violence. You have never protested during normal business hours. How fast you forgot Georgia, you little hypocrite. You know, in Georgia, we were out there by 11 o'clock every night. Do you know that? Because there's laws in Georgia that it's disturbing the peace. Nobody was out there past 10 o'clock. You think you know it all, right? So I fight for missing kids and fight for people. You just run your fucking mouth. Now get out my room. Get out of my room. Mods, get her. Get her. Here we go. How do I kick you out? I want to personally kick you out. Hold on. There we go. Ban user and delete comment. You're gone. There. How's that for a hypocrite? You don't worry about what I do. You worry about you. All right. You worry about you. Now that we were interrupted, and she was like, you never protest during business hours. Yes, I did. I slept every night. Okay. I slept every night. I was out of there by matter of fact, I was out of there by dark time, all except maybe twice. On Halloween night, I was out there. But I was gone by midnight. You couldn't be out there because Georgia would lock your ass up. Okay. And then they put up signs that said from 7 to 7. So that person right there can clearly don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I like your business hours, 12 to 12.
Yeah.
What business operates 12 to 12?
Mine. I operate 12 to 12. No later than that. Now, there's thousands of people that have seen them videos in Georgia. Was I ever out there after 12 o'clock?
Don't entertain it. Please don't entertain it. Please. Because we all know, we all watched it. I was there moderating. It was not what they say it was.
Oh,
Literally,
I know.
Your ass was out there past dark like twice that I remember.
Yeah. So
y'all left when it got dark, like every single time.
Well, they did have a night crew out there.
I know, and they confused everything that happened in Georgia with like you did it.
Yeah, I'm to blame for it all.
You played music on your speaker. You freaking twerked in the windows. You did all of it.
Yeah, I did it all. I made it happen. Okay. Good morning, Dolly. I hope you're doing well. No free rent. Yeah. She could have. I hope she liked the video on her way out.
I didn't even see that person. I probably have that person blocked.
I blocked them. Danny is the one about hindering travel. Dolly showed respect. Well, yeah, you know, when she was in there and she was in court, who was down there? Dolly, to make sure this girl went to prison so I could laugh in her face. We don't support baby killers on this channel, okay? So if you come in here and you're in here defending a baby killer, what does that sound like, okay? Thought I can go to why is not your right to block off streets. I'm sorry, miss, sending you a big hug. If you want someone to talk to, I am sure I can find a way to let you contact me. Exactly. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, this video you're seeing right here is from earlier tonight. All right. This is what it looks like when doves cry. Okay. That is what it looks like when doves cry. It is dead as can be out there right now. I mean, it's a ghost town. CB, good morning, Dolly and PJ and Turtles. Good morning to you, CB. Glad you could be here with us. All right. This is the live look at it right now. So, as you can see, it is dead as can be. But what we are going to jump into is a little bit of the news on it. And then we'll continue to look at the live feed in just a little bit. And, you know, people are going to start showing up soon.
Begin with that breaking news at 5 tonight. A major decision on whether the city of Portland will see federal troops on its streets. The Ninth Circuit Court says National Guard troops can remain federalized but not deployed in Portland. The court just granted an administrative stay on a temporary restraining order, or TRO. There's a full hearing tomorrow on that restraining order. K2 is on your side tonight, breaking down exactly what this means. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
And I'm Deborah Knapp. The decision is just the latest in a long list of new developments unfolding over the past few hours. Here's what else happened today. President Trump once again signaling out Portland during a roundtable discussion with cabinet members and conservative influencers on Antifa. We're also learning about some changes to the way Portland police responds to the ICE facility. This is following yesterday's visit by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. K2's on your side with live team coverage. Christina Giardinelli is live outside the ICE facility with more on PPB strategy. And Vasily Varlamos is standing by with what was said at the roundtable.
We begin with K2 Shelby Slaughter now on that TRO ruling. She's live at the federal courthouse downtown. Shelby, right now, nothing changes, right?
Yeah, Stephen, I do just want to note here, this is confusing to understand. I did call Dan Rayfield's office earlier to get some clarity after this ruling went down, or it came down. Here's what you need to know. Now, this stay is in response to the first temporary restraining order granted by a federal judge on Saturday. That order defederalized Oregon National Guard troops and blocked them from deploying in Portland. This order keeps those troops in federal status, but continues to block them from deploying. A second temporary restraining order was also granted Sunday from the Trump administration when they sent California and Texas National Guard troops to Oregon. It does not appear the Trump administration filed an appeal in that case, and a hearing on that appeal is set for tomorrow morning at 9. I did reach out to Dan Rayfield's office for an interview, but I was told he was booked for the day. Reporting in downtown Portland, I'm Shelby Slaughter, K2 News.
See, I don't get how they can even stop the president from deploying National Guards. I mean, if he wanted to put in an executive order, he could overthrow all this and skip all this BS, right? But here's the thing. Why deny the National Guard? Why is this state so anti-Trump in their government? I mean, basically, that's what it is. It's like a peeing contest, right? It's like, it don't even make good sense. It's all to keep the streets calm and peaceful. And you see when the police got out there and they put some police out there, and now that the area is secure, there's no people out there, it's quiet, people can sleep. It just needed the right amount of police out there, take some of the attention away from it, and some of these people will go home, right? Everybody knows it's big news and everybody's watching it, and this is the reason this is happening. If you calm some of that down and separated the protesters from, okay, anti-ICE over here, pro-ICE over here, and put a buffer between those sets of people, you wouldn't have any conflict out there.
I was in Portland yesterday and had the chance to visit with the governor of Oregon and also the mayor. They're in town, and they are absolutely covering up the terrorism that is hitting their streets.
Continuing our team coverage now, tonight DHS Secretary Kristi Noem claims state and city leaders are covering up terrorism. This comes after her visit to Portland yesterday. Her new comments made just hours ago at a roundtable on Antifa, featuring Trump administration officials and conservative influencers. Now, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says the federal government will deploy the full might of the feds to crack down on Antifa and other domestic terrorist organizations.
K2's Vasily Varlamos joins us from the live desk. So, Vasily, what else was said at that roundtable?
Deb, those who spoke at the roundtable reiterated claims that protesters outside the ICE facility are part of an orchestrated terrorist group called Antifa. Nick Sorter, who was arrested outside the ICE facility last week but did not end up being charged, criticized Portland police, city and state officials, saying Portland politicians are, quote, willing to sacrifice their own citizens to appease these Antifa terrorists, end quote. Another influencer, Katie Davis Court, said residents across from the ICE facility are, quote, being held hostage, unquote, by the organization. President Trump designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization on September 25th. Today, he repeated claims that ICE agents and the building are under attack by Antifa. K2 asked those protesting outside the facility what they're doing and if they're affiliated with the group.
Part of an organized group called Antifa?
Absolutely not. There is no such thing. I don't know why people are not.
What? Did that lady say there's no such thing? Oh, she has done lost her mind now. I mean, listen, you can change the name, right? You can call a dog a cat, but it's still a dog. Simple as that.
Understanding that it is completely ridiculous. It just stands for anti-fascist.
I think that any of the people who are here are part of Antifa or organized terrorist groups?
Not that I've seen. I met a priest or a priestess. She's for the Lutheran Church, and she says she's out here making sure that it's peaceful.
After Noem made her comments, I asked both the mayor and the governor to respond to Noem's statements. Mayor Wilson did not answer my question directly, sending yesterday's statement from the mayor, which reads in part, what Secretary Noem saw today in Portland matches our reports. Portland continues to manage public safety professionally and responsibly, irrespective of claims made from out-of-state social media influencers. We reached out to Governor Kotek early directly following Noem's comments and have yet to hear back. At the live desk, Vasily Varlamos, K2 News.
Vasily, thank you. Well, today, the White House released a scathing press release about the state of Portland.
It claims for years an Antifa-led hellfire has turned Portland into a wasteland of firebombs, beating, and brazen attacks on federal officers and property. The release pulled quotes taken from interviews in various news outlets. That includes a woman who lives near the ICE facility. Published in a BBC article yesterday, quote, it's like a war zone. There are times I've had to have a gas mask on inside my own home.
Wow.
And this quote from a business owner in Northeast Portland on Fox News this week, quote, "We struggle every day, every week with the crime and the drugs and just the unsafeness that comes with being here in our city right now. It's like our leaders have abandoned public safety for us." And continuing our team coverage now.
K2's Christina Giardinelli is live outside the ICE facility. Christina, what does it look like right now?
Deb, the situation got a lot more lively here just in the last few minutes. The caution tape that I showed you when I came on here at 4 p.m. is completely gone. I'll step aside now so you can see a small group of protesters here right outside of ICE. The man over there in the blue shirt is actually a counter protester who has been yelling some things at this group of protesters. If you go over there to the middle of the street, you can see the Portland Police Bureau bike squad over there holding a presence with at least 5 to 6 officers crossing the street now over here. Some media outlets as well as more police presence over there. This is quite a big police presence. Even now that the tape has been removed, we still see a large police presence.
Yes, I just
my
don't know
goal today
when.
was to find out why that caution tape was held so long here, even after DHS Secretary Noble left, and then why there's such a large police presence here now. During a visit to Portland Tuesday, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem visiting with Portland Mayor Keith Wilson.
I'm so extremely disappointed. He's continuing to play politics.
In an interview with Fox News about the meeting, she threatened to use more force in the city.
If he did not follow through on some of these security measures for our officers, we were going to cover him up with more federal resources.
The security measures Noem mentioned are detailed in this letter sent by the U.S. Attorney for Oregon to Police Chief Bob Day. It asks for a number of things, including a perimeter surrounding the ICE facility. A perimeter was put in place Tuesday for Noem's visit, which the city told us was standard procedure for any visiting dignitary. With Noem gone on Wednesday afternoon, that perimeter was still up, accompanied by a police presence. I asked the agency for an interview this morning. They declined, but did not say why. So I followed up with this list of questions. Why is the one-block perimeter around ICE still closed off? How long will it stay up? It appears PPB has increased its patrols around ICE quite significantly. Why is that? How much bearing do Noem's threats have on that? Did your bureau strike a deal with Noem on support and policing outside ICE? If so, what does that look like? Conservative live streamers have claimed you're working with Antifa. Are you? Trump has called protesters here Antifa terrorists. Are you investigating any organized terrorist groups here? In response to the first question, the agency told us there was no exact time, but, quote, tape should be coming down soon. PPB did not answer the remaining questions, saying it, quote, did not want to get into a back and forth with the White House, and that the chief appreciated meeting with Secretary Noem during her visit.
Now
in
they're
response
doing
to
their
that,
job.
the agency did point us to 3 different media availabilities it's held over the last couple of weeks, although those media availabilities did not address
curfew
today's
yet, Beth.
recent developments and my list of questions. I will keep working to try and get those answers. For now, live in South Portland, Christina Giardinelli, K2 News.
All right, Christina, thank you for that. Nightly protests outside the ICE facility have been going on since June, and tonight we're getting a better idea of how many people Portland police and the feds have arrested down there. As of their latest update, police say they arrested 3 people near the ICE facility yesterday. That brings their total to 40 since early June. FBI Portland says there have been 0 arrests and 0 citations in the past 24 hours, but 179 total arrests since June.
New tonight, PPB says one of their
The
arrests
federal
last
aid-
night included a suspect who allegedly swam across the Willamette River to escape officers. Happened after a disturbance near South Bancroft Street and Bond Avenue. Officers say they saw somebody running toward the river. When they approached him, they say he swam to Ross Island. Portland Fire and Rescue boat took them to the island where they arrested 36-year-old Nathan Khalil. And as we've reported, the situation in Portland has caught the attention of our neighbors in Seattle.
Yeah, today the city's mayor signed 2 executive orders he says will keep residents safe in case of a federal deployment. To be clear, the mayor says he's not aware of an imminent deployment, but wants to be ready. The first order evaluates all legal options and lays out how the city will coordinate if troops arrive. Also ensures police know what they should and should not do.
Absolutely.
The second order bans the use of face masks by law enforcement, including ICE agents, making Seattle one of the first cities to do that.
President Trump is unilaterally ramping up his military occupation of American cities. And here we stand firmly against the militarization of our communities, the militarization here in Seattle.
That order also requires all law enforcement badges to be visible.
It's been more than a week since President Trump announced a deployment of the Oregon National Guard in Portland, and they've yet to arrive as it plays out in the courts. But the order has sparked more protests outside the ICE facility, especially at night. And as you've just heard, again from our reporters, there's been conflicting narratives about what's actually happening. That's why K2 tonight is starting a 24-hour live stream outside ICE to let you, viewers like yourself, see what's going on. You can scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you to the K2 YouTube page. The live stream begins at midnight.
Okay. So we've been taking a look at that stream the whole time, and I just show it to y'all once again of what's taking place out there right now, which is not much. It's pretty dead. Actually, they just wrapped it up, but I'll show it to you. Look at that. That's what happens when you do good police work, when the police do their job. I ain't even saying good police work, but this is what we see when police do their job. Okay? No, I may still end up going. This is not over yet, right? This is them maintaining it so the National Guard don't come in. This is just right now. No, there's nothing wrong. We use the National Guard and Katrina and stuff like that. It's to help keep the city safe. It ain't to shoot U.S. citizens. It's so people don't get attacked and people ain't burning stuff down. It's so people ain't looting buildings. Okay, would you be mad if there was 1,000 more police officers? Why would you be mad that there's 1,000 National Guard? It's no different than a police officer. Nobody had a problem with National Guard being in Washington, D.C., and that's the state's capital, right? The National Guard was deployed in D.C. Nobody had a problem with that. But people have a problem with the National Guard being there in Portland. It don't make any sense. I didn't hear Portland screaming, hey, don't put the National Guard in D.C. And what did they do? Look, in L.A., the National Guard went in, everything calmed down, right? So what's so wrong with having extra security? It's just like having a security guard. Did the National Guard, have you ever seen the National Guard shoot anybody? I haven't. And that's the reason we have you're absolutely right. That is the reason we have the National Guard, is so craziness like this don't happen. And we'll go back to the live look at that in just a minute. I wanted to bring up this round table that Trump did.
The White House. Let's listen into it on live now from Fox.
Chance of happening. I may go there sometime toward the end of the week, maybe on Sunday, actually, and we'll see. But there's a very good chance negotiations are going along very well. We're dealing with Hamas and many of the countries. As you know, we have all of the Muslim countries are included, all of the Arab countries are included. Very rich countries and some that are not so rich, but just about everybody's included. It's never happened before. Nothing like that's happened before. And our final negotiation, as you know, is with Hamas. And it seems to be going well. So we'll let you know. If that's the case, we'll be leaving probably on Sunday, maybe Saturday, maybe a little later.
Good morning, van life.
Saturday evening, but that seems to be our schedule. It should be clear to all Americans that we have a very serious left-wing terror threat in our country. Radicals associated with the domestic terror group Antifa that you've heard a lot about lately, and I've heard a lot about them for 10 years. And other far-left extremists have been carrying out a campaign of violence against ICE agents and other officials charged with enforcing federal law. In Chicago, anarchists have surveilled at least 4 local ICE facilities and posted diagrams of the buildings online, meaning nothing but bad, accompanied by photos of specific ICE agents that they're targeting, one in particular who's a top person and a great patriot. In July, approximately a dozen Antifa-aligned militants stormed the ICE facility in Texas and then lured officers out of the building before firing dozens of rounds at police. They were crazy, frankly, shooting one Texas officer in the neck. And in Portland, Oregon, Antifa thugs have repeatedly attacked our officers and laid siege to federal property in an attempt to violently stop the execution of federal law. Everything we're doing is very lawful. What they're doing is not lawful. And what the governor and the mayor of, as an example, you can say of Portland, and you can say certainly of Chicago, it's not lawful what they're doing. They have to be very careful. In addition, 2 weeks ago, radical terrorists in Dallas conducted a sniper attack on a local ICE facility, killing 2 people and leaving behind a note that read, "Hopefully this will give ICE agents some real terror." That's bad. This attack came the very same month that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a far-left extremist who inscribed the words, "Hey, fascist, catch," meaning catch the bullet, onto the bullet shelf itself. The epidemic of left-wing violence and Antifa-inspired terror has been escalating for nearly a decade. At universities, Antifa has organized riotous mobs to attack campus speakers. I see it all the time. And these are agitators, anarchists.
Guys, be real. This is not a military takeover of our country. Okay? That's silly to say. A military takeover of our country. The country voted for Donald Trump. Listen, I love all you guys, but come on, let's be real. Okay, let's be real. It's not a government takeover. It's not a military takeover of our country. I don't see tanks riding down my streets. You know why? Because nobody's breaking the law. And if you do, the cops or the military, look, you don't, all them armored vehicles that the police have, and them battling rams and them SWAT trucks, that's the military. That's almost funny to me, like a military takeover. All like you, that's silly to think that, and people really think this stuff, right? My streets are peaceful. I don't see that. That's it. Thank you for the laugh. No, I'm sorry you feel that way, right? Like, listen, you really, if you think that they're trying to take over, you just need to sit down with somebody that'll tell you that you're being paranoid. Okay, you're being paranoid. I just passed the tank, SPJ. I just passed the tank on the way to work. Okay, you just passed the tank on the road. Be careful. They're jumping out of airplanes. They're landing in your backyards. Okay. Paratroopers are coming. Paratroopers are coming. Listen, guys, don't worry. Don't worry like that. Everybody is so paranoid that the government, what do you think they're going to do? If you had a military person at the end of each street in the whole country, I would feel safe. I'd be like, ain't nobody getting me. There's a dude with a machine gun at the end of the road. Right? Listen, the only people you got to worry about having guns is bad people. All right? Our military are U.S. citizens. They ain't out to hurt us. They're our brothers and sisters. It's their family. There's people right in here right now that the National Guard are family members. I have family in the military. There are military. Now, if it was somebody else's military, then I'd say be scared. If you see a tank riding down the street that says Russia or China, then you worry. But if you see a green one, you good. I promise you. I give you my word. I give you my word. If you see a U.S. tank or a U.S. armored vehicle riding down the road, you're good. Now, if you see one with a red star or a sickle, then you might want to run. Okay, then you might want to run. Then you can be like, well, they're trying to militarize our country. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh. But that's just so funny. That is so funny. You think our own people are going to hurt us, right? They're here to protect us. They're here to protect us. When somebody breaks in your house, who do you call? When somebody steals your vehicle, who do you call? When somebody slaps you upside the head, who do you call? I'm not trying to be mean to you guys. I'm just trying to discuss it with you like a normal person, right? Like, I'm just telling you, don't be scared. That ain't going to happen. You've been watching too much conspiracy stuff. The government's not trying to come in and take over and control everything you do. They're not. Let's be real, okay? Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. That's not happening. Martial law. They're gonna come take our guns and all this. It's not happening. Like, people have been screaming that shit for the last 20 years. Have you seen it in the last 20 years? No. No, you haven't. Right? Listen, you can think like that, but it's not a good way to think. You're just paranoid. The government's not out to get you. And there's so many people that think that. You are very naive, Dolly. Okay, you can say that. But I could say, hey, you're very paranoid, Shadow Wolf. Right? And if we can sit down and talk about it, I would hold a discussion with you about it. Listen, you anti-government, don't make me mad at you. Okay, it don't. Not at all. I don't hate you. I would like to hear your reasons that you're so anti-government. And then I would tell you my reasons that, yeah, has the government done bad things? Yeah, they have. Right? I would say there's a few bad things they've done. I can think of right off the top of my head that were unbelievable. But is that as a whole? I don't think that. I think we're fine. I think we're fine. I really do. There's some things that our U.S. government has done that I don't agree with. Okay? Definitely. And I can understand some people are a little skeptical and don't trust the government because of the things they have done in the past. But as a whole, like society, if you don't do anything that breaks federal law, you don't really have to worry about that. Okay? When you start breaking federal law, and usually it has to do with weapons. You start messing around with weapons, yeah, then you may have the man on you and it may not end good, right? It may be some terrible, terrible stuff. But if you just an average citizen in this country and you ain't doing those types of things, you ain't involved in a cult, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right.
And they're paid. And you'll find that out. You'll be finding it out very soon. You should see what we have on these people. These are bad people. These are people that want to destroy our country. We're not going to let it happen. They've used armed gangs to assault local police in cities nationwide, and they've attacked journalists reporting on their crimes. So the journalists that report on their crimes, don't worry, you're very safe. I hope that's not going to turn you around, but they have been very threatening to people, but we're going to be very threatening to them, far more threatening to them than they ever were with us, and that includes the people